Thank you for tuning in to TalkWad.com, the world's fastest growing internet radio network. Please check out all the other great shows on www.talkwad.com.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything.
Gentle loving hugs, and thanks for turning in to the Fibro Friends radio show here on healthinforadio.com, part of the Entertainment Global Media Network, broadcasting out of heavenly Clearwater, Florida. If you feel like doing nothing at all today, then just sit back or lie down. We're here to educate you with a full spectrum of information on fibro, advocate on the behalf of all fibro friends for fibro awareness and the need for more research, and support each other with laughter and love. New to fibro? Wonder what it is? Fibromyalgia is a complex chronic disorder involving a malfunction in how the brain processes pain, which leads to other multiple dysfunctions in the body. Some of the main symptoms of fibro are pain and fatigue, sleep disorder, memory and concentration, depression, digestive disorders, hypersensitivity. So today, you've tuned into Fibro Friends. So please welcome your host, Laura Rosa.
Hi, and welcome to another Fibro Friends on a nice Monday evening. And tonight I have a special guest from Chicago. His name is Tim. Tim, are you with us? Is Tim with us?
I'm right here.
There you are. I hear you. Barely, but I hear you're there. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and could you do a little introducing about who you are and what you do?
Sure.
Okay,
my
great.
my name is Tim Wambach. I am the managing director and co-lead in a two-man show called Handicap This.
Right.
And Handicap This is all about my relationship with Mike Berkson. Mike is... I met Mike in 2001 when he was 12 years old. Mike is 24 now. Mike has cerebral palsy, and he has virtually no movement of his arms and his legs, but he is a brilliant, witty, hysterical young man, and we've had quite a relationship, and we've been able to turn that relationship into a show that educates, empowers, and entertains audiences all over the country.
And I feel so fortunate to have you on our show.
Well, I appreciate that. It really means a lot. We get asked to do a lot of these type of shows, and we just love doing them. Unfortunately, Mike is feeling under the weather today, so it's just going to be me, and unfortunately, Mike won't be able to be on.
With us.
Correct.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about when you go and do a performance for if you at a big, large company or whatever venue it may be, do you have the kind of the same sort of performance each time you do, or is it more free flowing?
Okay, we have like an outline of our show, like we have a beginning and an end, but throughout the show we definitely do a little bit of improvising, and then also there is a component, an audience participation component. So that always changes with every show.
Of course.
So it, we try to be. I mean, it's basically every show is 90% the same as the last show.
Okay.
But at the same time, we also are always tweaking it, fine-tuning it, and making it better. So, if you saw the show like a year and a half ago, and you saw it next month, it would be a little bit different, if not a lot different.
Okay, I got you. So I'd like to know a little bit about what's your format. I know what your message is, and we're going to get that across to our audience tonight. But your message is very upbeat, and how do you introduce that? What is your mode to get the message through?
like, I'm not sure I understand, like, in what way are we talking about? Just in general, or if I'm talking with someone about who wants to book the show?
No, when you're on the show. When, I know you're both not here tonight, but if how do you begin your show to get people engaged?
Oh, gotcha. Well, I would say the thing that we definitely use very well in getting people engaged is humor. We definitely use a lot of humor in the show, and that I think that really breaks down barriers when people are laughing. And I would say that they're laughing from pretty much the beginning, and then they laugh throughout. We do use some visual components in our beginning. The beginning of the show is definitely a visual component, along with Mike being on stage. But really, it's hard to explain if you haven't seen it. But I would say that the main thing that we do is we use humor to break down those walls.
Well, that, I believe humor is the best medicine, they say. So
absolutely.
Let's back it up a little bit and talk about we're just getting some adjustments made here because, oh my gosh, I really was hardly hearing you, but now you're here fully. Thank you. So what I understand is that you became very quickly aware when you were working with or hanging out with Mike, who is very visibly disabled, how people reacted around Mike. Is that correct?
Exactly. Absolutely. Like, I would say the first time Mike and I went to the mall together, I realized people's reactions when they saw Mike. They would see Mike, they would immediately look away, they would pull their kids in closer, they'd rush past us. If they would catch him like he has, simply by making eye contact or coming too close. So it was that kind of seeing that I wanted to do something about that.
I gotcha. I mean, we all see it today.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so then you got brainstorming, and obviously Mike is mentally 100% equal to every other person.
Absolutely, yeah. His intelligence level is off the charts. His IQ and his wit and his humor is unmatched. He's hysterical, and that's what really makes the show really effective, is that Mike is so quick-witted and funny, and he feeds off that crowd, and he'll definitely use what's going on to make a comment or whatnot that really will bring the house down. So it really it's a great way for us to just be able to be very conversational with any audience.
I'm sure it must be very easy, and it's because, as you know, this show, focuses on fibromyalgia, and most people who have fibromyalgia / chronic fatigue syndrome eventually end up filing for disability. So we're considered disabled but it's an invisible disability. So,
right.
But I think there's such a huge need to bridge the gap between the able-bodied and the disabled, because everybody has something to offer in the community, in the world, and to each other. And
absolutely.
I just commend you on going around the country, and possibly the world, as we discussed earlier, and bringing this message to large groups of audiences to not be intimidated by someone who's different.
Exactly. And, like when I was first working with Mike back in 2001, I saw it all the time where, people would, think he's deaf, so they talk really loud, or they would think he was like a 6-year-old and they'd talk down to him, or, or they would direct their questions to me and not to Mike. And that has happened throughout the years, but I noticed it, more when we were first starting out together. So we kind of used all those little things that have happened to us to educate people.
I've noticed, when you see small children that are like 2 and 3, and to them, they see somebody who's different, and it's more out of a curiosity. And
Sure.
the mother is, sitting there praying to God her child doesn't say something to embarrass her. Yet I think the innocence of a child out of curiosity is very normal. And so that's the place where it's a good time to educate a child. And
Absolutely. And like, well, Mike and I, we did a training in South Dakota last week, and this question actually kind of came up about what do you do for a young child, and we both said that you don't want to hurt their curiosity, or you don't want to you don't want to do something bad because they're curious about something. That's a teachable moment. That's where you educate. And so I think sometimes it's the parent that has more of the issue than the child. And really that there's an opportunity for a conversation there. And
it is.
And we welcome conversation.
It is a very good teaching moment. It reminds me of a time when I was with my daughter and we were at a restaurant. I think it was fast food, and the woman behind the counter was very visibly disabled. And my daughter, I could see her brain just, going through it, and just in a normal tone of voice, she looks at the lady and she says, "I love your smile." And I was like, oh, my gosh. Well, that was not expected. I didn't know what she was going to say. But, that's how she processed it. She was, about 2 or 3. So, but, I had that moment of feeling of, oh, my gosh, I'm going to make this lady feel uncomfortable. And, this was years before I ever had to, I was in this world, and we can all work together, and everybody. That's the message that I so support. And when I saw, on the web where you're going and what you're doing and the crowd you're with, it's so inspiring to get that. And my question to you is, what can we do to help perpetuate the message you've already got going? You figured out what works.
Thank you. We love to have as much help as we can get. So basically, spreading the message for us would be, we have a pretty active fan page on Facebook, and that's just Handicap This on Facebook.
It's called Handicap This. I just want to make sure we get that for the audience. Say the name again.
Just Handicap This.
Okay. Handicap This.
So,
okay.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Twitter. Those are all the social media avenues that we play on, so to speak.
Right.
But really, I would say that our target audience is colleges. Those are our target audiences. So
Excellent.
If someone either works at a college or knows some people at colleges, that would be that's our sweet spot, so to speak. But we speak into the show all over the country for all different kinds of groups and organizations. Really, if you're listening to this and you want to bring Handicap This to your town, community, church, school, what have you, get in contact with me via at handicapthis.com. And if you email me, or if you click on the speaking contact form on our website, we'll have a conversation with you, and I can send you out some marketing materials that we have that kind of tell the story and kind of the who, what, when, and where type of stuff that we have. And then another thing that Mike and I have that I think is really starting to gain some steam, Mike and I have developed, I guess you could say, call it a reality internet series that is basically a behind-the-scenes, a day in the life of Mike and myself, and we call them our webisodes, and that's on our website. And every Wednesday we post a new webisode. So we have 13 webisodes that we currently have footage for, and we've posted 3 webisodes thus far, so we're on 4. Wednesday will be our 4th webisode, and it's just kind of a fun way to educate people about what we do on a day-to-day basis, basically. Did I lose you?
I'm here. Are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
I was just saying, like, so the webisodes is another avenue that we have that's online that we post every week. And that's just for what we've been telling people, like that are teachers and whatnot, that's a great tool to use in the classroom because the webisodes are like 5 to 10 minutes long, so they're very short. But if you could watch a webisode and then have a conversation over it, I think that's a really good teachable moment.
That is, and so on any of the webisodes you've created, what is your format for a day in the life of? Are you out in public walking around, or? Yeah,
we to be honest, we didn't really we didn't like have like a set thing. Like, okay, what we ended up doing is just had all this footage that we cook on a day-to-day basis, or like on a weekly basis and whatnot, and we sat with our video guy and we just kind of pieced things together. So basically, like the very first episode is probably the most entering. Like you see where I live, you see where Mike lives, you see how Mike wakes up in the morning, you see how he goes to bed at night. So that was probably like the most intimate one. And then, we had one of our episodes was Mike got stuck in his van. The lift wouldn't go down, so Mike was stuck in his van. So that was a webisode. We went down to the University of Illinois to promote a show that we were doing, and that was a webisode where we went on campus and we're talking to people about disability awareness. And then the one that's going to be coming up next week is kind of like what we're doing now. Mike and I went to do a radio show in the Chicagoland area, and we videotaped going to the radio show, during the radio show, and after. So that was kind of cool. And then we had some fun things too. We went to the Wisconsin State Fair. That we have an episode with that where you get to see me ride a camel.
I bet that was fun.
So yeah, it's just some of it's some webisodes are more serious, some are just more lighthearted and kind of fun. Like we went down to we went up to Mall of America. And we filmed some of the stuff that we did in Minnesota and stuff like that. So it's really kind of just showing people the adventures that we go on and how that they can understand.
I think that is an amazing tool because it shows that Mike is normal. He goes to bed.
Exactly. Did I lose you again?
My point is that people have more in common with each other than they have different when you really break it down. And when people can see that he brushes his teeth at night, he goes to sleep in a bed, and he gets around town, and the differences are really nominal compared to everything a human being does. It's just that he has different challenges that he was born with, or anybody that's disabled that either happened during their life or as a birth reason, and it's just what's so. And it's I don't know what it's going to take to turn around the thinking of being afraid of the unknown. And I guess education is the only way, it's going to happen. And if we can get our parents to get their children to become more of seeing that as an acceptable, no different than someone who's, Hispanic or Black.
Right. Laura, sometimes you're cutting out, and I'm not hearing everything that you're saying. It's just blank.
Let me see if I can get the engineers involved. We're having some technical difficulties. Help. They're telling me just a minute, and they're working on it. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll just kind of ramble, and maybe you'll pick up a few words here and there.
I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Sometimes it cuts out, and then it's just blank,
Good,
so I'm not
good.
hearing anything.
Okay. Yeah. It's they have some interns here training tonight, so I think that that may be causing some issues. I don't know, but we're just going to go along with it. So I'm just recognizing how hopefully in maybe in one more generation we can teach our children to take it on as look at everybody as an individual. Don't stereotype. Just because somebody's different doesn't mean they're just to stay away from. It's all about getting the right mindset and educating one by one or groups or whatever it takes. So it's a really big challenge out there because there's so many varieties of disabilities.
It definitely is. Well, our tagline is making minds handicap accessible. That's what we try to do.
Making mind handicapped accessible?
Yes.
I'm trying to follow that. Is that like a tagline?
Yeah, it's just, a lot of times people have different perceptions or whatnot, so what it is, it's making minds handicap accessible.
Thank you. I was hearing M-I-N-E, mine. So it's a little easier face-to-face, but this works. And
sure.
You're in Chicago.
It's a little tough to get down there.
Yeah. How's the weather, by the way?
Actually, today it was the high 40s, so that isn't bad for a winter day.
Not bad.
The last couple of years, we've had probably a mild winter, so it hasn't been too bad.
Well, that's good. You said you were in South Dakota last week. I was actually born in South Dakota, so.
Oh, really? Cool. Yeah, we were in Huron, South Dakota.
Rapid City. But hey, my dad was in the military, and I was very young before. I have no memory of it, but I always thought it'd be really cool to go back and visit one day. So how was the weather there? Not that this is relevant.
So we left on a Sunday to drive there, and our training was on Tuesday that we were doing, and they got huge snowfall on Sunday, so we were behind the storm.
Wow.
So it didn't affect us at all, but the interstate that we were using to get there was closed down on Sunday. But we weren't close enough to where it affected us.
Well, that's good. So
yeah, we lucked out.
When you travel around the country, do you always drive, or is it just...
No, we don't always drive. It just really depends on where we're going.
Gotcha.
We drive more than we fly, but we try to make it as easy as possible for Mike. And what we try to do is if we are driving a far distance, we try to get another job or two in the area so that it's not drive there, do the thing, and drive right back.
Right,
so we have some semblance of some.
So do you just maybe call around to some radio shows before you go, or how do you try and set up extra opportunities?
It depends. Luckily, like what happened recently, we're going to be down in southern Illinois, Edwardsville, in April.
Okay.
And someone contacted us, our high school, Roxana High School, which is near Edwardsville. They contacted us, and they are going to potentially bring us in for a show. We do the Southern Illinois show on Sunday, and it looks like we're going to be doing the show for the high school on Monday. That hasn't been officially set yet, but it was one of those times where they called us and were like, well, we're going to be in the area, so why don't we do it then? So but typically I will make some outbound calls to certain schools or colleges or whatnot to see if they'd be interested.
Hello.
Yep. I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm calling into the show, and I think I'm getting a feedback.
You sound clear to us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Do you have a question for Tim?
No, I really called in because I kind of was reminded of a phenomenon that happens to me every once in a while. I don't usually use my cane, and so in the last couple of weeks, though, I've been having sort of some acute pains. In I sort of have the trifecta of pain, where it's the fibro and it's some nerve pain that I have and other issues. And
ouch.
I kind of noticed the phenomenon of people that have never seen me with a cane and how they behave when they see you with one, because the adults never ask.
Right.
Rarely, unless they're very close to you.
Right.
They never really ask, what's wrong. They kind of secretly look you up and down, or at least they think they're looking you up and down secretly. I'm in college, and so I don't, I have passing acquaintances.
So you're a little too young to be walking with a cane. They're probably thinking in their head,
Well, it's not just that, but in certain situations, especially for example, if you're standing in line and there are children there, they will, they'll do the same. But most of the time, they'll look you right in the eye and ask you, what's wrong and so on. But the adults always still in this still in this year, 2013, still have that problem, of sort of, facing you and looking at you and sort of treating you like, a person. And it's, I just think it's interesting every time that happens. So I often forget, and then when I start doing it again, using the cane,
right? What do you?
I'm reminded of it.
Is that a pretty common thing, Tim? What would you have to say to her?
That's I don't know what thought I would have on that. I mean, I guess it's more like an individual case-by-case basis, I guess.
Right. And so you're saying sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't, and so the world responds to you differently.
Yeah.
Do you feel that people are nicer to you?
Not necessarily. Sometimes. I mean, they are, but I would rather they talk to me.
Right.
Ask me directly. I would like them to be as direct as the kids are, because the kids are curious, and that the adults are curious too, but they just sort of look at you in that secretive way, and it's like, oh, just ask me. I'll tell you, if I want to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in and sharing that, because that makes a very good point. That you're out there and you have one day you're using an extra device and one day you're not.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. It reminds me.
I just kind of wanted to bring that discussion to the forefront, because I actually find it quite amusing most of the time. It kind of helps the pain a little bit. Sometimes I get frustrated with them, though. That they're like, I feel them you actually feel them wanting to say something or ask something, but they don't. So. Yeah.
Right. Or do you feel them walking behind you and wanting you to hurry up a little bit?
Yeah, sometimes.
You're in their way.
Yeah. Yeah, I find myself doing that. I do shift over to the side to make sure I'm not in anybody's way, so it's just interesting to me.
Yeah, cool. Wow.
All right. Well, it's nice to be able to call in. And,
we always love to have callers call in and share their opinions, their stories, and jump in on the conversation. Thank you.
Well, I didn't mean to. I wasn't sure what was happening, because I kept hearing, talking, and I was looking for your voice, but I didn't hear it until you said something.
You didn't know where you were.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
You take care. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye. That's true, Tim. I was in a car crash and ended up with a neck surgery, and the doctor said you have to wear a hard collar for 3 months. It turned into 4, and I was working at the time, and people treated me so differently. honestly, I felt they were a lot nicer to me. I mean, I'd be walking up to a door, someone would rush and get it. You know, I'd be in line at the grocery store, and they'd be like, "Do you want to go ahead?" And basically, the neck brace was just to make sure that my bones fused together well, and I had a successful surgery. It was very annoying. I didn't like it, but I had to do it, and when I felt like I stood out, and people were more friendly. So that was just an unusual situation, and it was temporary. And then I stopped wearing it, and I realized people don't look at me anymore. You know, it's like, what happened? So she jogged that memory. But now I use a walker, and I usually have my hand braces on, and I get all kinds of looks, and I just tune it out because I figure, you know, it's none of my business what other people think. It's about the best way I can, you know, go through my day and not get all wrapped up into the emotions of it. So, so what are your future plans? You all have made a career out of this, you know, and it's so important. It's just so critical that we get this message out there. And do you have anything else like on your, you know, down the road list that you all want to?
Well, yeah, one of our big goals. We have a couple big goals, and they're pretty lofty, but at the same time, we know that, you know, that'll just make us work that much harder for them. One goal is to perform our show on Broadway.
That would be great.
We really feel. What's that?
I said that'd be great.
Yeah, well, we really feel that would really open a lot of doors, and it would really be kind of like a win for the special needs community, you know?
Yes.
And I think that would really be something that, you know, I think it would help society in general.
Oh,
yeah. You know, if something like that were to take place, that's one of our big lofty goals. And the other one is to have a motion picture made about our relationship and what we've been able to accomplish and you know, where we're going with it. Because Mike and I also have a nonprofit organization that we started back in 2007. It's called the Keep On Keeping On Foundation. And right now we primarily help the special needs community in the Chicagoland area. But we definitely want to branch out and get bigger and be a national organization.
That is fantastic. I wrote that down
what
here.
we do is we basically have a few fundraisers every year, and the money that we raise, we helps to buy wheelchairs. It helps to, we've done some home modifications. We've purchased hospital beds, other specialized equipment, and then also just recently, our most recent case, we put an elevator in a home. There's this one family, they have quadruplets.
Right, okay.
And all four of the kids actually have cerebral palsy, and three of them are in wheelchairs. So what we did was we put an elevator in their house so that the kids could experience the basement, and then if there's like a tornado warning or whatnot, the mom and dad don't have to carry each kid down, and that gets cumbersome and dangerous and whatnot. So this way, it kind of helps the family be a little bit more independent.
That is an amazing gift. That's tremendous. Thank you for that. That is awesome.
So we've really, in a short period of time, we've been able to accomplish a lot. Yeah. And part of that reason is just because, like, with Keep On Keeping On, we have a great team, a lot of just a great support system, and a lot of, like, it was founded by two other individuals, myself and two other guys that I grew up with, and Dave Knickie and Dan Joyce, and it just we've been blessed with a lot of great people working on it, and then, you know, with Handicap This, it's just something that, you know, Mike and I work on just about every single day, trying to push that needle forward.
Now, how did you and Mike meet? How did your relationship begin?
I was asked to be Mike's one-on-one aide in school when he was in 7th grade. The school that he was at when he was in 6th grade, it was a middle school, so he was done with that school and he was going into a school that I was working at. I was an aide for a girl who has cerebral palsy, and she was graduating. So I had worked with her. I actually came in February of 2001 to work with her. I was in between jobs and was looking at maybe substitute teaching, and then they linked me up with her. So I worked with Rachel for the remainder of the school year. She went on to high school, and they thought it would be a good fit if Mike and I worked together. So we started working together that summer, and then in some way, shape, or form, some capacity, we've been with each other since the summer of 2001.
That's fantastic. So I take it you're a little bit older, so you weren't just like buddies in the same school. You were actually...
Yeah, so I'm a little bit older than Mike, more than a little bit.
Okay.
I just turned 39, and Mike is 24.
Yeah, there's a little difference.
So, yeah, we have a 15-year difference. But, it was... Like when I met him, I knew he was different. Not because he was in a wheelchair, not because he had cerebral palsy, and not because he had an identical twin brother who was able-bodied.
Oh, really?
But the way he was different was his outlook, his comedic timing, his wit, his intelligence. That's what to me set him apart. And I knew that when I interacted with him, I saw the personality. I saw what his gifts were. But I also knew that a lot of people wouldn't see that.
Right.
So that was kind of what...
They wouldn't give him a chance. And here he had all this amazing dynamics inside of him to share. And then here you come along and create this amazing platform. So he's now a shining star. And... we're doing hand signals here. We got about 5 minutes to wrap it up.
Okay.
No, we're good though. And then to imagine that if you do, and I feel confident you will get that play done on Broadway. I also hope that you're keeping a journal, where how your travels have progressed and how. If you just think about all the lives you've touched in just these few short years and what would appear to be a detriment when having his disability has turned out to be a gift. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And the thing is, you say about the journal, I actually have started journaling this year, like religiously. I've always wanted to do it, and I do it here and there, but this year I've pretty much done it every single day. And that's something that's going to be, I'll be able to look back and see the growth that we've had, from January 2013 on. And we've had a really successful year so far, or at least a lot of bookings have come in early on in the year, so we're set up to we're already set up to do 50% more in bookings than we did all last year.
Wow.
So we're excited. Things are moving forward, and we continue to push the envelope, both with our performances and just like our marketing and whatnot. And we love a challenge and putting those goals on paper. Our goal was to be on Broadway by 2016, actually. That's the goal for Broadway.
And so basically you'll take your normal, or what your normal routine is when you go out and do your thing with comedy, and then, I don't know, turn it into a play, or are you making it more of a story, or how would you go about that?
What we did was we started getting asked to do speaking engagements back around 2005. So we were doing some speaking engagements, and the audience has always loved what we were talking about. And I don't know what happened in me or Mike, but we were both like, what if we turned it into a show, an actual show instead of just speaking? So what we did was we contacted a friend of ours, Molly Mulcrone, who was a talented writer and was a theater major and this and that. So we contacted her, and we asked if she would help us put our story into script form.
Okay.
So we met with her. We started April 2008 is when we started this process. So we worked with her. She gave us homework assignments. She dove into our relationship, and she created the first draft in September of 2009. So
Okay.
we performed that first draft in January of 2010,
Uh-huh.
and then we just continued to make changes and improvements and whatnot ever since we first did it.
Wow.
So that the show has changed a lot since that first script.
Right.
So one of the things was Molly used 3 other actors and actresses in the show. So originally, the first time we did it, we had 3 other actors with us, two females and 1 male.
Okay.
And they kind of just helped the story along. But Mike and I wanted to be able to take this on the road and be able to really take this to more people. So we felt that having 3 other people was just going to make it harder for us to do the show. So we decided that it would just be a 2-man show, which is what we wanted originally. But when Molly was writing the script, she had some different ideas that she wanted to infuse, and we said go for it. So we took out the other actors, and it was just, and either I played those roles or we, it was all self-contained, and like I said, we just continued to make changes to the script and completely tighten it and to make things more understandable and more succinct and more impactful.
Well, it seems like it's working because your bookings have doubled, and I can see this just going up and up where you're not going to have any time for yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Laura. I really appreciate that.
I do too, and I am so grateful to have you on the show. And the listeners here have got the information to get to you on Facebook, your webpage, and to watch your webisodes, which I think is an awesome idea. And hopefully you'll get something in a book form so people can understand the process of, how this all came to be. And it's just...
Well, actually, we do have a book. I wrote it in 2000. I originally wrote it in 2005, and we redid it in 2010. It's called How We Roll, and that can be purchased on our website with the foundation, keeponkeepingon.org. How We Roll is the name of the book.
.org. Okay. And I'm going to put all this up on my website, too. For those listening, you can come back later, and it'll all be posted up there, FYI. So,
Great.
Yeah, so get some more supporters, and, we can keep in touch on Facebook and tell me what I can do to help you, and vice versa. And like I said, we've got something coming up in October that seems like it'd be a great fit for y'all if you're not booked already. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get to work on that, and I'll get that email out to you. And let me see if the engineers, if we're all together. Good. Okay. Well, once again, I thank you for your time, and tell Mike I hope he feels better, and we will watch him on the webisodes. And I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Absolutely.
Remember,
Thank you so much, Laura.
fibromyalgia can
thank you,
strike any
Tim.
person at any
Good night.
age.
Bye-bye.
If you feel that you may be suffering from fibromyalgia, please contact your medical provider as soon as possible for proper diagnosis and a treatment plan that works for you. We are not a replacement for professional medical advice, but we are your Fibro Friends for advocacy and education and support. We encourage you to share via email, Facebook, or Twitter through a link from any of our shows that can be found on our website at fibrofriendsradioshow.com and on Facebook at Fibro Friends Radio Show, with your doctor's support system of friends and family and your fellow Fibro friends. Remember, laughter is still the best medicine. So share the Fibro funny today and keep a smile on your face and in your heart. So pass this Fibro Friend's smiling, gentle hug full of love to someone in pain today, because it's always the love that heals.